Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. Happy Monday to you. The question of the day is, what cool thing happened this weekend? Boy, I had a weekend that was just jam packed with stuff. And so I'm really excited to see and hear about what happened with your weekend. Good morning, Dan from Omaha. Good morning, Lauren. Lauren saying that she did her first cold plunge with Brenda Jean. I survived and feel amazing. She is an amazing coach and friend. Amen to that, Lauren. Brenda Jean is an amazing coach and friend. Good morning, Shauna. Good morning, Brenda Jean. And Brenda Jean's cold plunging right now. I believe it. I believe it, Brenda Jean. Shauna says that she decluttered the hizzies. So she decluttered her house. Awesome. Not that you have all that much clutter in your house there, Shauna. I've been over there. It's not particularly cluttered, but I'm sure it's nice to just get rid of the old energy. Let's see here. Yeah, Dan says, cool thing. Mother-in-law bounced back from a bad place. Man, I remember reading about that on Facebook, Dan, and I was just really happy for you and for Stacy, and to know that she just kind of like, that she bounced back and that she'll be around for a little bit longer. That's wonderful. And good morning, Angie. Yeah. So my weekend was, my weekend was full of amazing stuff. Angie said that she had a great weekend meditating. That is great. My weekend probably, well, it had a whole bunch of meditation in it because that's what I do in my life. But it also had a whole lot of excitement. Christmas marketplace this weekend was a lot of fun. I just hung out and enjoyed my club membership in a way that I don't typically do, and just from morning to night, just hung out with friends and went from party to party to party. And in between partying, I gave away another man's stuff. It was a lot of fun at the at the Christmas marketplace. Got one of my favorite annual pictures with Sarah, who is the office manager here at the resort. She doesn't really get pictures with hardly anybody, but every year at the Christmas marketplace, I'll go and take a picture with her. So that was fun, and it even made the newsletter. So yay! Anyways, it was a fantastic weekend. I'm just so grateful. On Sunday, I had a work shift to do, and even my work shift was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun folks that I chatted with, and yeah, just got a lot of good stuff done this weekend. So we are heading into Christmas is going to be next weekend, and I already have a bunch of folks who are up in my inbox saying, "Hey, come have breakfast. Hey, come have dinner." So, anyways, it is fixing to be a good weekend next weekend too. So yeah, we are here to say some good stuff about us. And hey, good morning there, Donna. Always nice to see you on the wake up call too. Yeah, we're here to say some nice things about ourselves, and we're going to be doing that with my I am cards. You guys are well aware that I have, I have a set of these I am cards, that the physical version, and we're going to be going through the very last of these physical versions here over the next part of the next part of the month, going into the new year. And then I'll probably do something fun on New Year's as well. Perhaps I'll just go through all the cards, and we'll have some fun with that. Anyways, nice to hear what is happening with your weekend and what happened with mine. I am just excited to see what the new year brings as we close out this chapter and open up a new one. So here's what's going to happen. As always, I'm going to pull a card off the top of the deck. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card. We're going to respond out loud together. I am that affirmation. And then we're going to write it down in the comments, affirm it for each other, and really just go through the day with a new awareness of ourselves. So let's have some fun today by saying that today I am deep. I am deep. I look past the surface and into the profound. So I am deep. I look past the surface and into the profound. Are you deep? You are deep. You look past the surface and into the profound. And I'm going to write that in the comments, and I encourage you to do the same thing. We're going to affirm together that we are deep. I look past the surface and into the profound. Yes, we are a group of deep people. And what does it really mean to be deep? And I believe that being deep has a lot to do with just kind of giving up superficiality. And we are deep people. I chose an image of water at night, looking up at the surface from below, to as a visual metaphor for this card. And I kind of feel like that's how it is. I remember the first time that I was ever in truly deep water, like water where you could not see the bottom. I was snorkeling off of the backside of Molokini Crater on Maui. And, I've been snorkeling plenty of times, snorkeling in water that's, somewhere between 20 and 50 feet deep. It's obviously you can't touch the bottom, but you can see the bottom, and it's down there. And on the backside of Molokini Crater, there's this very interesting phenomenon. The ocean shelf is just right there, just because of the topography of it. And while it's not super duper deep, it's way deeper than you can see the bottom of. It's maybe like 800 feet deep. So it goes from being 5 feet deep, 10 feet deep, and then all of a sudden it's 800 feet deep. And I remember just kind of like floating over there and just getting this sense of my own smallness, and getting a sense of the profundity of the ocean as I was just looking down and realizing, I'm like, wow, it felt like I had no anchor point at all. It felt like I was just kind of floating in space. And a part of me was also a little bit scared, a little bit worried about what exactly lives in water that deep. And hopefully it doesn't think that I'm food, because I was, when you're floating in water that deep, you never really know what's going to come up. And I know that the great white sharks live out there, and they will sometimes mistake snorkelers for food. I did not want to be mistaken for food that day. But anyways, I remember that as I was floating out there, that I had just a couple of thoughts about the depth of the water, and the fear that's associated with really deep water. And one of the things that I considered as I was floating out there was that in order for us to understand things that are profound, in order for us to look at things, look at life and in the profundity of life, we have to first acknowledge our own insignificance in it. We have this really interesting life experience where we are both incredibly significant because our actions affect everything around us, and also incredibly insignificant because we are such a small part of what is. And so the significance that we have affects our perception. So we are significant because we perceive to be significant. We are significant in our own little world. But how small our world is. Our world is connected to a much, much larger world. And that much larger world is the collective experience of all things that have perception. So as I was floating around in that water and feeling so small, I also felt very expansive. I felt like in that depth that I could expand into it. And I feel like that's something that being deep allows us to do. It allows us to have an expansive perspective. And that expansive perspective makes our world bigger. It makes our significance increase. And how strange that made me feel as I was just floating out there, and not only floating out there and thinking about these things as I was kind of in a fairly dangerous part of the ocean, but feeling safe because I had the skills to navigate that part of the ocean. But I also felt like at the same time my physical body was weightless, that my physical body was being subsumed by the ocean, by the depths of the ocean, that I was just a part of it, that the forces that were around me were so much bigger than me. And that gave me a sense of incredible humility that I did not expect. I figured I was going to go snorkel and see some turtles. And what really happened was I went and snorkeled and I saw some turtles and I saw some fun fish and whatnot. But as I floated out a little bit and the ground just completely disappeared from below me, I kind of got a sense of the universe and my place in it, both my incredible importance as a sentient part of what is, and also the incredible smallness that I embody as well. And so I am deep, and I look past the surface and into the profound. And as I've gone through life, I have intentionally sought out people who look past the surface, who don't care so much about external appearances, but rather are more interested in what in the stuff that we are all made of. Depth. Well, when we talk about somebody being deep, oftentimes it's about their perspectives, it's about their life experience. And I love to hang out with people and curate my experience and make sure that the folks that I'm hanging around with are folks that have a breadth of life experience, that have a depth of life experience, and that don't take things at face value, but rather ask the question, well, what does this mean? Because when we ask ourselves that question, when we ask ourselves what does this mean, it gives us this incredible ability to then detach a little bit from what our immediate reaction would be, and really latch on to the deeper meanings in life. And life does have a deeper meaning. I believe that the deeper meaning of life is to exist and to persist in it for so long as we can. And that as we go through life, the part of eternity that we get to touch, the part of the eternal part of our nature, is the way that we make other people feel, the love that we share with other people. I believe that love is the only real thing that we really have in this experience. And I think that's a fairly deep perspective, to look past what we can see, what we can feel, what we can hear, what we can touch, and instead recognize that the way that we make others feel, and the way that we interact with other people, and the way that we interact with ourselves, with our own internal monologue, with our own subconscious, that right there is something that will continue to persist forever. So I am deep. I look past the surface and into the profound. And depth is about adopting a bit more of a holistic approach to life, and realizing that what we can see, what is readily apparent, what is readily visible to us, is only a small portion of what is. In the same way that my body is very important to me, but when I was floating out into the ocean, I recognized just how small it is, just how it could be so quickly swallowed up by something much bigger than me if that thing came along. And that was scary and also a little bit exciting to be in a situation like that. And that, even as I was, very self-absorbed, having my own thoughts about depth, that at the same time I was also completely consumed by something so immense that I couldn't even consider its vastness. I was in the ocean, and I was in the ocean at the very, 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 very edge of the ocean, and I was still, completely lost inside of it. So I am deep. I look past the surface and into the profound. And as we go through our day, as we go through our week, as we go through our lives, let's just consider that what we can see is not all of what is. That there are lots of other factors at play that we cannot, that we haven't even considered, and perhaps that we can't even conceive of. And that when something happens to disrupt our peace, or something happens to cause us to question the nature of our lives, the nature of reality, that we can just look at that from a we can look at that from a deeper perspective, and we can say, well, what does this mean? What's going on? What does this mean? And how am I going to feel about it? And then how am I going to act? Because ultimately, actions define our lives. I want to say thank you guys so much for being here, and yeah, just continuing to go through these cards with me. Good morning, Josiah. It's so wonderful to see you here today. Buying some of your wife's artwork was definitely one of the high points of my weekend, just so you know. And I know that a lot of other people bought it as well. So I don't know if Tammy watches this, but Tammy, if you're watching this podcast, you're an amazing artist. Thank you for creating art. I think it's very deep art. Anyways, I will return tomorrow at 9 a.m. We will go through yet another wake up call, and yeah, until then, let's make sure that as we're going through life, that we are looking past the surface and into the profound. All right, my friends, I love you and care about you. I'll talk to you tomorrow at 9 a.m. We'll be back with another card. Until then, have a fantastic day, and just bring some depth into it. I love you. Aloha from paradise.